So I wanted to briefly talk about my experience talking to other people throughout my lifetime. So I have never been confident when it comes to talking to other people. And, you know, for a very long period of time, I thought it was simply a lack of experience, right? And that if you just talk to people more, it's just gonna naturally become easier and easier. But, that's not uh, how it works, or at least not fully how it works. So I would say definitely by forcing myself to talk to more people, I think I'm becoming better at it. But I don't think my improvement is, I guess, equivalent to like how the improvement curve works for most people. So I don't think necessarily I improve at understanding implied emotions or understanding tone of voice better or understanding body language or just tiny cues in terms of how people express themselves, right? And how it changes. So I cannot notice properly, um just this very, let's say, emotional expressive side of language. Like, I don't think I'm getting better at evaluating it. I think the only thing I'm getting better at is simply noticing patterns in terms of like literally keywords, right? So like, for example, like if I see like a certain, let's say I have like a list of like, let's say 100 or 200 words or something in my mind, right? And you start to notice those words and certain combinations of those words appearing, and usually that's like the main tool that I use to evaluate if like a conversation that I'm having with someone is going good or not, right? Is like if there are those uh, words that my brain has deemed as concerning or potentially threatening, or a bad sign that the conversation is going bad. And let's say if you have a combination of two of those words within the same sentence, or within an interval of a few minutes, then it like the processing of the threat or how bad it's going is kind of multiplied like tenfold or something. But yeah, again, it's like very uh, yeah, algorithmic in a way, right? It's not like I don't think there's much of a difference in terms of like hearing someone say something like verbally, or just seeing like written text, right? Like basically that's what I'm saying, right? I think I'm getting better at like evaluating speech, but the way I evaluate it is literally identical when it comes to you know like uh, like text based uh, like message and like actual like speaking. So yeah, I'm just better at processing the words, but I'm not better at processing the intentions behind the words, or the tone of voice behind the words, or the emotional charge behind the words. Um, but I also wanted to say that there's something positive to that as well, which is that I would say currently uh, in the like in my current state, in my current goals and worldview and everything, like since I'm trying to prioritize well, making trying to make others happy, I don't think that's really making it much harder for me to do that, right? I don't think it's a big issue. I feel like the biggest issue when it comes to lack of proper understanding of like talking to others is just actually not like, it doesn't impair how much you can make them happy. I mean, it does, but not that much. But the thing that it impacts the most is actually your own sense of security and safety, right? And that's why actually I remember when I was in elementary school and even in middle school, to a large extent actually, I used to play the role of the class clown, right? And I would really try to play this like one-dimensional character, because if you portray a one-dimensional character, then it like the reaction or the response you expect from like the people around you is like very predictable, right? uh and also makes it harder for you to fuck up as well, because you don't have to keep track of like many like factors or many components of how you portray yourself, because you're not even portraying yourself, you're just portraying a very basic and very shallow character, right? um so yeah, like part of the reason I was doing it was because, well, first of all, as I said, it creates like predictability and a sense of control of your environment, but also, of course, the like the desirable result that you're hoping for is obviously to make other people laugh or smile or be happy. And happiness, since it's like one of those primary emotions, that's really obvious, right? Even for me, like maybe I cannot uh, accurately differentiate certain secondary emotions or expressions, such as like disgust, concern, etc., right? But like even for me, like happiness, most of the time is fairly easy thing to spot, right? Like there's a lot of cues, visual cues, right? Like when someone is smiling or laughing, out loud and stuff. So yeah, basically like that's the result you're hoping for, right? And once you achieve it, well, sure, it's nice to know that you improve the mood of someone, but the more important victory that you achieve by doing that is you can kind of relax, right? Because like basically you don't really care about people being happy that much. You just care about it not because it's a good thing, but because it eliminates the possibility of a bad thing, which is people being angry, or yeah, just in general having negative emotions, right? Because like uh well, I don't know, like when there's uncertainty, like it doesn't matter if it's negative or neutral, but like unless the people around me are like very like visibly happy and they express it very strongly, well, I feel very uneasy actually. And yeah, it's very scary because like I cannot have a high certainty that you know I don't know, like there's no risk of someone being angry or doing something harmful to me, or I don't know, to someone else, whatever. So yeah, it's literally just mainly something that you do in order to protect yourself and get a sense of safety. But thankfully, uh, I don't feel the need to, fake my personality or act in a one-dimensional character way anymore, because, as I said, my priority currently is to make other people happy just for the sake of them being happy, right? So I don't prioritize my own internal feeling of safety. Of course, that's still important, but it's secondary. And, um, you know, I think, yeah, like I feel comfortable enough being authentic, and I still think that I can make other people happy, even if, um, you know, even if like maybe my communication skills are not the best, and oftentimes I can like make the atmosphere around me very awkward, or temporarily I can make other people anxious or nervous by being around me, right? But those are temporary things. And also, of course, if things are really, really bad and for whatever reason uh, you're really struggling to talk to someone without making it very awkward or uncomfortable for them, well, you can always just, limit yourself to just, um, interactions in the form of just practical advice, or keeping it like, I don't know, like work related or university related or whatever it is, right? And just, I feel like that's one of those things where it's universal, right? It doesn't matter how how good your social skills are, or how good you are at talking or relating to other people in general. But like regardless of that, like if you feel competent and confident in a certain domain, right? Then I feel like naturally conversation is always going to flow a lot more naturally, and it's going to be a lot more fluid and non-awkward, basically, right? So yeah, I guess that's the only time I can feel full confidence, and I can, I guess, fully define myself as a human being in the context of talking or interacting with others, right? Because I like for me it literally doesn't matter like the number of people, for example, is like irrelevant, right? Like I can literally give a speech in front of like 100,000 people, like in a huge like stadium or something, and like I wouldn't feel like nervous at all. Like as long as it is about a topic that I'm an expert in and like I'm very competent and confident in. Like as long as that's met, like I don't care, right? I can talk about my obsessions and about my hobbies and passions, like to an unlimited amount of people, right? But then even talking to one person is like the scariest thing ever when it's about small talk or about something that I'm not competent in, because that's my issue actually. It's like sure, like I feel like there's like single digit number of topics where I can talk about them for like years, like literally without stopping. But then for everything else, I'm like severely and significantly below average. So for me, like especially people that you don't share a hobby with, like it's impossible for me to talk to them most of the time, right? Because like I've noticed that some of the most common topics when people first meet each other and just do small talk are things um, like sports, history, cooking, um, yeah, stuff like that. So, and like even video games. I mean, I spent a lot of time playing video games, but again, it's limited to like three or four throughout my entire lifetime, right? So even for video games, I cannot really talk about most mainstream games much, right? So yeah, basically like I'm just stuck there, right? And I like my only like way to navigate this situation is like if I'm lucky enough and like the other person is willing to talk about abstract stuff, right? Because like I cannot talk about I don't know the current political state of the world or something. I don't follow politics. I don't care about history, etc., etc. So like if someone wants to talk about things based on reality and what's happening in the world, well, I'm just useless, right? But I do actually enjoy quite a lot talking about abstract concepts and just philosophical things and just trying to I don't know immerse myself in some hypothetical situations and just try to use problem solving skills to like process different outcomes and different ways to solve this hypothetical problem, etc., etc. So that's really fun for me, but yeah, anything else is really torture. Um, and like even if best case scenario, you're lucky enough that the other person uh, wants to talk on a topic you're an expert in or you're very passionate about. Well, even that can backfire because then you get too excited and you talk too much and you overwhelm the other person. Um, so that's another thing I've been working a lot on is like trying to be aware of how other people around me feel and if I'm being too annoying or talking too much, right? So I can shut up. So usually every half an hour or so, or maybe even less, like I would ask people like if they want to switch topics or they want to talk about something else, right? Because I'm trying to be considerate and I don't want to like I don't know, like if I know that the other person is not having fun and is being bored, well, I instantly lose all of the joy I have of talking about the thing that I'm passionate about. Because, like, again, as I said multiple times, so I currently I'm really trying to prioritize making others happy rather than chasing temporary short-term happiness myself. Um, so yeah, I mean that's about it. Again, like I think in a lot of ways I'm getting better at uh, like trying to portray myself as a human being, and I think I'm being observed as one, and most people would consider me one. But again, like I think, sure, like I can get the same outcomes, like when interacting with others as like other people, but the difference is like I get my outcomes in a non, like authentic is not the right word, but like in a non conventional way, right? So I still think I'm missing a significant portion of the emotional processing and just auditory processing of like, like cues in the voice of people, and I don't know how it changes and stuff like that. So yeah, I don't know. Sometimes it feels uh very bad for me, right? Because like I feel guilty because like I feel like I am not providing to the other person the type of connection that they're looking for. But then again, like you know, I guess I shouldn't blame myself because like it's not a lack of trying or lack of effort. It's just yeah, I just think it's like one of those things that if you don't have naturally, you just have like a kind of hard cap in terms of like how much you can develop it, right? So yeah, I think again though, like regardless of how bad your social skills are, or just in general your interactions with other people are, like as long as you really truly prioritize being a good person, I think you will always be able to um, just leave a positive impact on other people, despite the awkwardness or despite the confusion, etc., etc., right? Like if you have truly good intentions, eventually people will understand that, and they will feel comfortable and happy around you. So that's all that matters. So I guess my message at the end of this video is just don't get discouraged if you don't get instant positive feedback from your interactions with others, right? Just be persistent and actually don't even really think about the outcome that much, anyways, right? As long as you know that you are truly doing your best to make other people happy, well, whether they will realize that and they will appreciate it, it's up to them. Like you cannot fully control that, but what you can control is your own actions, right? So just try to be a good person and don't overthink and worry too much about whether you're being perceived as one, right? Like it doesn't matter. Like as long as you're a good person, like I feel like you will find a lot of satisfaction, happiness, and peace of mind, regardless of if you get praised or stuff like that, right? I mean, actually, that's the opposite of what you should be doing, right? Like if you're being a good person just so you can get compliments or praise, then well, you're not really a good person. Then you're just desperate for affection, right? Or you're doing it just to get something in return. That's not being a good person. That's being a desperate person, and that's a completely different thing. So yeah, just truly, truly try to like at your core prioritize being a good person, and good things will follow. And yeah, like the least, like the less you try to force other people to like you, the more other people are gonna like you, basically. So that's my observation based on my experience so far in life. So yeah, that's all I wanted to say. Take care and thank you for listening.